These are the 5 most common reasons most high-achieving men will never see their abs or get below 18 or 20% body fat. Fix them and your results become almost automatic. I'm Dr. Jon Go. I'm a surgeon. I've lost 75 pounds myself, and nowadays I help other busy professionals do the same. The men that I work with fall into 2 categories. Category 1 are the guys who are doing everything right but are getting nowhere. Category 2 are the guys who make one small tweak and suddenly the fat just comes off. The difference isn't genetics or willpower, it's finding and addressing that one small tweak. It's like golf. You hit the ball at the driving range like a million times and suck at it, but then one guy tells you to move your wrists like this or your hips like that, and all of a sudden you're hitting the ball like Tiger Woods. Finding that one small tweak is why people pay me for one-to-one coaching. These are the 5 most common mistakes I see and are what we're going to be talking about today. Like all my videos, this is for education only, not medical advice, and let's get into it. Mistake number 1, alcohol is the greatest killer of progress. I see it all the time. Guys have everything on lock: protein, calories, lifting, sleep, running, you name it, but they're still not losing fat. The first thing I ask is, how much are you drinking? What most guys don't realize is that the drink doesn't just add calories, it tells your metabolism to stop burning fat. Let's draw this out. So here's your liver. This is an alcoholic beverage. What does alcohol do? Well, once you take a drink, your liver shifts immediately into detox mode, which stops burning fat. Another thing it does is it decreases testosterone for up to 48 hours after that drink. It also decreases sleep, notably REM sleep, and lastly, it spikes your hunger hormones. This all adds up to craving carbs, missing workouts, and making worse food decisions, all because of the night before. But it's not just the night before, that stacks across the weekend and across multiple weekends. So Friday night leads to Saturday overeating, and that might lead to skip Sunday workout. The damage adds up fast. If you haven't before, I'd highly suggest trying a 28-day reset. Track your sleep, energy, and hunger. Reframe how you think about alcohol. Instead of reframing it as a reward or a coping substance, try to reframe it as a poison that hinders your progress and your performance. Most guys I work with don't really quit entirely. They just stop treating it like a daily bonus or coping mechanism and start treating it like a conscientious choice with trade-offs. In the past, I've quit alcohol for almost a year. Today, I'll still have a drink or two. For me, the point isn't black and white with quitting, but it's about being more cognizant and intentional about my decisions and my relationship with alcohol. For some, that means quitting entirely, and for others, that means moderating. Only you can answer what's best for you. But of course, no matter how you spin it, it's always going to be better to just quit entirely because no amount of alcohol is safe. But even if you remove alcohol entirely, the next thing tanks fat loss for most guys, and it's actually in the gym. Mistake number 2, you don't lift weights or you don't train hard enough. Here's why lifting matters for fat loss. Muscle mass is one of the main drivers of your basal metabolic rate. More muscle means you burn more calories every hour, even at rest. It also improves your insulin sensitivity, so you can use carbs better and store less fat. Because of all this, when you diet, muscle protects your metabolism. If you lose muscle, fat slows. So you need to protect muscle if you want to keep fat loss predictable. This makes weightlifting a priority. Haven't you seen the runners who are skinny fat or the runners who are actually pretty hefty? I remember running the LA Marathon and getting smoked by some pretty damn heavy runners who were probably in the greater than 30% body fat range. There's no denying that they're probably cardiovascularly fit, but if the goal is fat loss, you have to participate in some sort of resistance training. Now, if you are lifting weights, the next super common issue I come across is people not pushing hard enough. If you never push close to failure, you never build or preserve the muscle that keeps fat loss moving. I see it all the time. Guys lift and stop way short of the reps that actually count. When I started lifting 20 years ago, we used to do these things called pyramids, which is basically me and a buddy alternating doing bicep curls with an easy bar, going up to 10 and back down from that pyramid. Not only were these pretty much completely useless at building muscle, but it totally fooled us. We had a pump going, so we thought we were working out hard and building muscle, but we were really just spinning our wheels. This is the effort scale. Most guys stop right here at number 6. far before failure. Well, muscle growth happens right here in the 7, 8, 9, and 10 range. There was a study published that showed that the average gym goer who thought that they were going to failure actually was stopping 4, 5, or even 6 reps short of failure. If you train that way, you leave most of the muscle stimulus untouched and you don't grow or retain your muscle. This means slower metabolism and slower fat loss. Do this. Pick 1 or 2 key lifts each session, push those sets to 1 to 2 reps short of failure, or reps in reserve. Try to work out each muscle group twice a week and focus on compound movements. If you don't know where to start with weightlifting, check out my complete beginner's guide to lifting here. And even if you train with real intensity now, you still need the right amount of fuel. Without it, your body can't build or preserve that muscle, which brings us to the next mistake. Mistake number 3, you underestimate your calories and you think that you can outwork it. You cannot outrun your spoon. I can't tell you how many times I've heard or thought to myself, I eat clean, I train hard, why am I not losing weight? The truth is that most guys drastically underestimate their intake and overestimate the calories that they burn. There are 2 parts I want to cover here. The first is the underestimation problem. The average person underestimates the calories they eat by up to 1,000 calories per day. Well, where are these calories coming from? Let me show you what 200 calories actually looks like. Peanut butter, 2 tablespoons, that's it. Most guys eyeball 3 or 4 without even measuring. During surgery days, I used to sneak in a spoonful of peanut butter between cases. Well, I do this 5 or 6 times before I even lunch. That's like 500 or 600 calories in just quick little bites in the morning. How about olive oil? 200 calories is just 1.5 tablespoons. You're already hitting 200 calories before the food hits the pan. Most of you don't actually measure it out and just eyeball it or go by feel. 1 extra glug of olive oil could be an extra 100 calories. You might not be tracking these, but your body is. The second point I want to cover is the I'll just train harder delusion. Let's compare actual exercise to calories with real world numbers. 1 Chipotle burrito bowl, that's just estimated at 1,100 calories. To burn that off, you need to run for 90 minutes straight at a 6-mile-per-hour pace, or do deadlifts for 2 hours with minimal rest. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, again 200 calories, and to burn that, you need to do about 30 minutes of running or 45 minutes of lifting. A Starbucks frap is about 400 to 500 calories or more, and to burn that, you have to run for 45 minutes or do a full body training session. The reality is, it takes you 30 seconds to eat 500 calories, but it takes you an hour of training and sweating to burn it off. A couple of spoonfuls of peanut butter or a little heavy drizzle of olive oil can take half an hour of running to reverse. You literally cannot out-train your fork. Training shapes your body, diet drives the fat loss deficit. I highly encourage everyone to track with honesty for 1 to 2 weeks. Calories and protein, weigh your food, measure your oils, be meticulous. Stop trying to earn your food through exercise. Train to get strong, eat to get lean. But what if you know what to eat and how much, but you don't have a plan for when life gets in the way? That's the next mistake. Number 4, you don't set yourself up to win. Weeknight failure is a weekend prep problem. So picture this for a second. You get back home from work, you're tired. For me, that might look like a long day of surgery followed by clinic and then the commute home in LA traffic. By the time I get home, I'm done. And now somehow I'm supposed to go grocery shopping and whip up something healthy to eat. That's not a fat loss plan. That's a decision trap. I'm gonna wanna just Uber Eats some Dave's Hot Chicken and hop in the shower. Work drains your mental energy, and by 6 p.m., your willpower is toast. So when nothing's ready, you default to ordering takeout or eating random snacks or skipping workouts and dinner. None of this moves you towards your goals. What's the fix? Meal prepping is a super powerful tool that I encourage everyone to just try. Prep 3 to 4 meals on Sunday. Make something you love to eat. Check out my other videos on healthifying your favorite dishes or pick up my free Asian cookbook below. The truth is, if you're trying to decide what to eat after work, you're probably gonna lose that battle of eating on plan. The other part of this mistake is that people meal prep bland chicken and broccoli for like the whole week. You're gonna wanna meal prep something that you actually wanna eat to get that psychological win that you need at the end of a hard, long workday. But even if you prep perfectly and you're tracking your food and intake accurately, if you're never checking the actual real-world results, you're flying blind into the next mistake. Mistake number 5, you don't compare real-world results to expectations. No feedback equals stalled fat loss. Let's say you drop some weight right off the bat, but when things slow down or stall, most guys just do what feels logical. Switch programs, add workouts, cut carbs, switch to keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, but they never fix the actual problem. And to fix the actual problem, you need data. What most guys don't get is that your body changes as you lose weight. There's something called metabolic adaptation. And it's why what worked in week 1 stops working by week 8. And there's a few things that happen. Number 1, your basal metabolic rate drops as you get lighter. A 220-pound man burns 2,400 calories at rest per day, while the same guy at 200 pounds, he's now estimated to burn 2,250 calories. You lost 20 pounds, but your calorie burn dropped by 150 calories per day. If you don't adjust your intake, your calorie deficit shrinks and the fat loss slows or stops. Number 2, your NEAT decreases. So NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's basically the amount of calories you burn from things like fidgeting, basically any subconscious movement that isn't overtly exercise. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body unconsciously moves less. You fidget less, you take the elevator instead of the stairs, you sit more. Studies show that NEAT can drop hundreds of calories per day without you even realizing it. Number 3, your body becomes more efficient. The same workout that used to burn 400 calories might now only burn 350. Your body adapts to conserve energy. It's a survival mechanism. Number 4, hormones shift. Leptin, your fullness hormone, drops, and that increases hunger. Your thyroid function can also decrease, which can slow your metabolism. And lastly, your cortisol can rise from prolonged dieting, and that also makes fat loss harder. These are all reasons why your scale might stop moving, even when you're seemingly doing everything right. Your body's adapting. That same deficit that worked 8 weeks ago just doesn't exist anymore. Here's what to do. Weigh yourself daily. Track everything you're eating, then compare real-world weight loss on a weekly average to your daily caloric intake. Then you can adjust accordingly. If your weight loss isn't on pace with expectations, you can either reduce calories by 100 to 200 calories a day, and that'll help reestablish the deficit that your body has adapted to, or you can try increasing your daily steps by 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day to offset that drop in NEAT. You can also try to take a diet break every 8 to 12 weeks, where you eat at maintenance for 1 to 2 weeks, and that can help to reset your hormones and your metabolic rate. Don't switch plans altogether, just course correct and fine-tune the same one that you're on. Small adjustments is better than completely changing and overhauling your whole diet or workout routine. Also keep in mind that fat loss isn't linear. Your body can at times seem to fight you, but if you measure, adjust, stay consistent, and track your data, you win. The secret isn't in more effort, it's in data guiding your systems and setting up your day-to-day life for success. And if you're stuck at 18 to 20% body fat, the answer isn't harder workouts or stricter dieting, it's implementing the right system. The system works when you remove the obstacles and troubleshoot the actual issues, not when you add more effort. And if you need help setting up the actual system, check out this video here.